Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the R&D Podcast with your host, Rachel.
And I'm Delia.
And in this episode, we're going to be talking about the DMs.
Ooh, it's like that song, how it's going
down in the DMs.
So silly, yes. The DMs, that's such a big one, by the way, because I think so many people have social media these days. I definitely don't want to call out the people that don't have social media because, sometimes they say that that's a red flag. I'm not here to call out any flags, but I think definitely it's so easy to communicate with people because nowadays you don't necessarily have to have their phone number because you could actually call, audio call through most platforms, by the way. They all have an audio way of communicating.
Video and audio.
Yeah, video and audio for sure.
I know that for example, Instagram has become sort of the visual resume of LinkedIn. It's like LinkedIn's sister. It's like LinkedIn, they kind of read about certain things. You have a few posts, but Instagram, it's really kind of like what you are. If you like to pose in bikinis, are you a provocative poster? So it's kind of could be like a dating app-ish as well as like a networking as well as a business connector.
Yes.
I know for myself when I'm out in LA and I'm doing certain networking events and stuff like that, I don't carry business cards. Everyone's like, oh, hey, what's your Instagram? There's a little QR code. Everybody scans it and right on my phone. And so it's everyone's just connecting that way, and then they get a visual of how you move as an individual or as a professional. So it's really easy, right, to then sort of open that doorway to say, oh, it was great meeting you at the restaurant or at the conference. Yes. And then now people have this sense that they're like your friend.
Right. Because they became your friend on Instagram or because, you can communicated or connected through, different social media platforms. But I think, it's so easy. I know I talk about this all the time. I mean, it almost sounds redundant, but I definitely think that we're living in an era that it's so easy to communicate with anyone from anywhere in the world. But on the same token, it's really easy for, your partner to see that you're communicating with everyone from all around the world. So I think it's that there's that fine line between, should you be DMing people? Should you be receiving the DMs? How are you responding? And it's a big thing, by the way. It's a big thing.
It is, and I think that if you are involved with someone who loves social media, I have heard, being a boy mom and all these things that I've talked about, that was always a little bit of a red flag if she posts a lot of selfies, if she's always, on her Instagram or social media, Snapchat specifically if you're younger. Yeah. It's a little bit of a red flag. In one hand, as guys, I think they like it because it's easy access, but then once they're the guy, then they don't really like it because that's kind of what made them interested in her.
Right.
So it's this catch-22, but I will say, for myself, I'm a woman over, 40, and I'm a businesswoman, so I meet a lot of people, and that's the route. I don't like to give out my phone number, so I'm like, to me, giving out my phone number feels so intimate. For some people, that's not the case. It's like, okay, everybody, but for me, I'm like, well, let's start here.
Right.
And not that I'm thinking about them in any sort of way. It's just like, this is public. This is where anybody here, you can jump in, you can follow along, like, comment, but if you DM and it leads to a link drop of a steakhouse you want to take me to, that's so tough because I'm single, so I don't have to worry about someone getting mad.
Yeah.
But I often sit there going, oh God, now I have to navigate that whole awkward thing.
Well, I mean, I think there are some people that are very private and they'll tell you, I really don't follow people, and they don't follow them back because a lot of the people are very private and they have different social media accounts that are strictly for business if they're operating this type of business, or if they just have friends and family that are very close friends and family on this particular social media and so or account, I should say. And I think oftentimes you just got to know who, what, when, why, and we kind of can vibe people too, by the way. And so should your partner know how to vibe, the people that are DMing them. And I think it's a slippery slope. I know for a fact, even within my inner circles, it's caused, marriages to fail. And I definitely think that this is a big epidemic, in my opinion, because, it starts with an innocent message that then leads into, I happen to be there too, or hey, come say hi, or hey, I'm going to be doing this. And the next thing you know, you think it's friendly, you think it's innocent, and that innocent little friendly, conversation turns into something bigger. So I think that it's really important when you are doing these types of things to really think outside of whatever's happening, to say, should my husband see this? Could this cost me my marriage? because I think that you have to kind of get, I mean, I know that sounds extreme, but you know, the little innocent things turn into big things, and you really have to kind of look outward to say, could this cost me my marriage? Because, you know, we think, oh, it's not a big deal, it's just a quick little message. And I promise you, if you wouldn't like that, you know, if you wouldn't like to see that with, you know, on your husband's phone, you wouldn't want to have that person do that to you, basically.
I know that for me personally, a male who posts like selfies a lot on social media is a red flag. Like, I've met quite a few very successful men in business through the business world that did not have social media at all. They might have a LinkedIn, and I really respect that about them. They don't have time for it, and stuff like that, and they're pretty private people. So to me, I think that's not a red flag. I think that's a green light all day, every day. Wow. But then there's the guys that are very heavy on social media for whatever reason. Yeah. A lot of them are using it for business or building a personal brand, and they get a lot of leads from that and stuff like that. And guess what? They're going to get the females sliding into the comments, into the DMs. So and I think that we have to remember as women that we're very different than men. So I think that women, we're so used to, you guys, put yourself in these shoes for a second. From the moment you're like pubescent, as they say, you've gotten cat calls, guys driving down the street whistling, and things like that. You know, oh, you're so pretty. Oh, your hair's so pretty. Oh, look at that. Oh, wow, look at her body. Like, from young, a female is getting this sort of attention, and we're learning from very young to say, oh, thanks, but no thanks. Thanks, but no thanks. Thanks, but no thanks. Like, we're learning that from very, very young. Yeah. A man. So showing up on social media and having, you know, 150 likes on a post and you know, a bunch of fire signs, you know, coming in, that's not a big deal, by the way. I think if you're a sound woman, like, it's not a huge deal. It shouldn't mean too much. Like, you're just like, okay, it's a cat call. It's equivalent to me walking down a busy street and the car's going by honking. That's what it is, right? Right. And as women, it's flattering, and then that's it. It's in one ear, out the other, right? Right. But I think for men, a man, it's not easy for them to get compliments. It's not easy for them to get attention. Right. So you get a man who's showing up on social media, and all of a sudden the women are like, hey, wow, oh, I love that. Oh, you're so great. Like, and there's a lot of guys showing up on social media right now because it's a big revenue driver for sales. Like, you know, life insurance, right? We see the whole industry. My son is in that industry, and every day he's like, they want me to show up on social media. I'm like, I don't know. It's the personal brand thing. So I love I'm in all that space. Like, I love it, but in a relationship, ladies, that could be so challenging, I think.
Well, I think it's more than that. I think that we are being conditioned for women to be more of the huntresses, and the women to go out more and direct message the man. And some of the messages that I've seen, some of the conversations that I've had with certain men, that these women are extremely forward. I mean, they're not even sugarcoating anything. They're just like, they're going for it. And I think, you know, since, you know, back in the day, even great-grandmother's age or grandmother's age, you know, women have always had these little ways of like, oh,
Marilyn
you're walking by and like, you drop something, and it's like the
handkerchief,
you know, oh my gosh, do you mind helping me with this? But this is on some other thing. This is like, you know, they're just going for the kill. They're not going to hold back. And I think that, you know, understanding how you're going to navigate around that is really important, because if the
guys are not equipped, so that's what I'm trying to say. Women, we've been in training for this since little, you know, and kind of trained since little that men can be predatory and watch out for this and that, right? So we've been in training for this, ladies. Like, so showing up on social media, you know what? Of course, it's flattering. It feeds the ego. It does all these things for a lot of different women for different reasons. Yeah. But the men have not been in training. Yeah. So when they're showing up and they're getting these DMs, I'm going to give you an example. There's a guy, and you know who this is, that I got to meet, and he's a very well-known restaurateur. Okay. That's all I'll say. Okay. And a lot of people know him on social media. Yeah. And one day, you know, in a business meeting, he opened up his DMs, you guys. This is for you ladies, okay? Yes. The bold ones. And he was showing all of us, like literally messages around the table at dinner. Look at this one. Blue checks. Girl, these are females that if I drop names right now, you'd all know who they are. Yeah. And look what she wrote. Look what she sent. Look at these pictures. Look at the... Like, I had no problem doing this. And I sat there, and I was with someone, you know, a friend of mine. I just said, watch out. Like, in other words, when you're going into a guy's DMs and you think that you're like, wow, like, we're chatting back and forth, and he's responding.
It's one-on-one.
You don't know he's going to show, number one. We know that, right? Yeah. About texting. But number two, I think that even a guy at the top who's used to girls kind of fangirling, they still get their heads really sort of blown up about it because they're not girls. Like us, we get it all the time. You know, you're a beautiful woman. Like, but a guy, it's not easy for them to get compliments and flattery everywhere. Yeah. So next thing you know, they got social media and it's access.
Yeah, but I think also, you know, women aren't, you know, they're not, mama didn't raise no fools, right? Maybe. Yes. And depending on how they're moving, obviously if this man is very well to do, then, you know, I'm sure he has to know that, you know, there's a high percentage of the women chasing him for, you know, the access, for, you know, what he has, what he's doing. Oftentimes it has nothing to do with that. Sometimes it's just because they just want to be very forward. I mean, I've heard of people say, you know what, I don't want a relationship with you. I just want to go, you know.
Dang.
I want to just go straight to
smash
the point.
Potatoes.
I want to just do some smashed potatoes, exactly. So, you know, I think it's really important that you know how to gauge that, you know, even as a woman, and understand that sometimes, you know, people are just going to be very complimentative, and it starts off very friendly, very innocent, and, you know, what is the end goal? And you have to really think about, should my partner see this? How would he feel about this? And then if I saw this in my partner, how would I feel about it?
Because isn't it true, like, what happens, because we're human, right? So you have a guy, you know, maybe you're married to him, okay?
Right.
And then he's blowing up on social media for whatever reason he's doing on social media. All of a sudden he's getting them kitty cats in the DMs, whatever. Yeah. And then, oh my God, you have such beautiful eyes, or whatever, blah, 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 blah. And then you see that. Uh-huh. And then now are you like, you know, she just wants you because you posted the Porsche. Oh. Because as women, right, then we're going and then we're cutting them at the knees. Yeah. And then it causes us as women, I'm saying us because I think we're all a little bit guilty of it. Like, it could cause us as women to become a little insecure, right, and to bring him back down to reality. Right. When really, then that means she's the one inflating his ego and we're the one deflating, and now we still lose. Right. Now we really lose.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I think that, you know, when it comes to your partner, he wants to feel like you're the only, you know, you only have eyes for him, and you're going to be like his biggest cheerleader, and that, you know, you believe in him, you love him, and all the things. And here you are chopping him at the knees, like Rachel just said. And so here's this woman saying how great he is. And so, of course, he's going to go for that girl, possibly.
The wide-eyed.
If you know, if you continue that. So I think it's really important to kind of keep that into, you know, take that into consideration.
Yeah, watch how you're reacting to it. Because if you're reacting to it like, and they go, wow, you know, I love your fitness routine, like you're so buff. I'm just going to give you an example, okay? Yeah. And then you're like, well, it's because look at the angles that you're posting. It's because you're posting with no shirt. Like you start to get jealous. And by the way, guys do it to the girls too. Yeah. And and then the partners start chopping each other down, right, instead of lifting those hedges that we talk about, and saying, you know what, babe, like, of course you're getting 100 guys in your DMs. Like, you're gorgeous. Like babe, of course all these women are following you. Like, you're inspirational, or, you know, you're a handsome guy. Like, I get it. Like, you're smart, and like they're learning from you. Whatever the thing is that the person's doing on social media, I think remain, if you can, if possible, his biggest, loudest cheerleader, and then go to your friends group or and be like, this dude thinks he's freaking like, you know, Elvis Presley over here, or whatever, you know what I mean? And I think find an outlet for it, because it's a real frustration.
I can see that.
And it can be scary, you know, but do really quick, since we're talking about DMs, and I know we touched on this last season, the couples that share the profiles, Jackie and John, Jason and Jeanette, or whatever.
I definitely think that there's trust issues there for sure. In my opinion, I mean, you know, I think I've shared this in the past that, you know, I wouldn't be new to that world at one point, and I understand what that entails, and I think that oftentimes it's because, you know, there's, you know, we always say this, you know, you don't leave the first time that there's been something that wasn't right, or the second time or third time. Sometimes, you know, we kind of think like, oh, you know, it was her fault, or we blame other people. But I definitely think that when you do have those social media, you know, where you have it together with your partner, I definitely think that there's a little bit of trust issues, and there might have been something that she did or he did, and that's the reason why you do that. But I definitely think that if you think that this is going to be something that protects your marriage, because maybe you're not in this business crazy world that you need to have a social media platform for yourself that, you know, showcases what you're doing in business, it's just for friends and family, then I definitely don't think that there's anything specifically wrong with that, because maybe that's the way you're going to protect your marriage. But I definitely think that only shows that you have a little bit of trust issues, in my personal opinion. But if that's going to really help you protect what you have, then you have to do what you got to do.
It might be something as simple as saying, if the line of work that your husband is in is not a sales driven type of job, then it might be questionable as to why does the profile need to be public. Right. He can still enjoy social media and all that it has to offer, for better or worse, but be privated, So that's a thing to consider as well, because when we're talking about this, but people are bold. They're sliding in the DMs. I've been to a few weddings now since we started this podcast, and it's so funny to hear the speeches and to hear who slid into whose DMs first. And so often it was the female that initiated it, and I'm like, whoa, like, I'm telling you. And I am like, they are so aggressive. And so now I've seen sort of C-list celebrities, if you will, like, so, Instagram famous people showing their DMs and all the people sliding in that you would never think would do that or would have to do that, but they're taking action, these women. And so if you are in a loving relationship, you love your partner, he's on social media, maybe it's just as simple as, hey babe, I think we should go private. You still get to enjoy the social media, but you know what? You get to choose who's following and who gets to see your life. Because at the end of the day, you're talking about access to your energy, to your life, to everything. Yeah, but
at the end of the day, I am going to put my 2 cents before we actually cut this one out. I definitely think that even if you had air tags on the guy, if he wants to,
not the air tags. I'm like, how did we jump from a private account to air tags? Oh my God,
Rachel!
Air tags.
Listen to me.
Okay.
If the guy, I don't care if there's DMs, if there's phone numbers, a private account, public account. I don't care if the guy's not a public figure. He's not a business. I don't care. If the guy wants to go out on you, he's going to do it.
And he's going to succeed.
My point to that is, though, I know it made you laugh, if you got air tags on the dude, if he wants to freaking do it, he's going to do it.
Or add it to the episode list, air tag it. Should you air tag him?
And that's all I got, So I'm going to leave you with that, and don't be insecure, and just, I always say this, if you ask God, he's going to reveal it to you. Ask and you shall receive. Pray on it. Sure. If for whatever reason you do not trust him, there's reasons for that. And if he wants to, he's going to do it. It doesn't even matter if you got private accounts and public accounts and together accounts. Believe me, he's going to find a way. So you know what? You just got to let go and let God, and he'll show it to you. So that's all I got.
1,000. I'm going to since you did that thing. Okay. Sometimes you don't trust somebody because you know what you would do in that situation.
Okay. And so that's all we got.
Pray on it.
Just pray on it. So cheers.
Oops.